Hello, hello. Welcome to my art channel, Poneyfeathers Art. I'm so glad you're here. I hope you enjoy the video. I want to tell you, I read a book recently and it blew my mind. It's called Flameheart. Let me just read you a little bit of what the author said about this book. Flameheart is an upcoming young adult fantasy novel where the human imagination comes to life, but is at risk of falling to an ancient evil and envious societies hungering for power. Fidecia, better known as Fee, is a cosmic guardian protecting a realm within the human imagination. She is specifically assigned to Norinth, a floating kingdom created by the protagonist Leah. Guardians are known for their star-filled eyes and are charged with keeping the boundaries safe from temperamental rifts to other worlds, and even reality itself. And I'll put a link in the description so you can follow along with the authors as they go through their process of getting the series published. It looks like it's going to be a trilogy, folks. They have book 1 set to come out in 2025, and I can't wait. I got to read the first draft, but I want the whole enchilada. I'll be in and out on the commentary throughout this video, so I'll just let you listen to the music when I don't have much to say. Now here's the part we talk about the artwork. So these beings are able to move through time the same way we move from room to room. So I wanted this art to feel dreamy, kind of like my lady Fee is floating in a cloud. And right here, I slowed down a little bit so you could see the real time. Most of this video is sped up to like 8 times, 32 times the actual speed of this drawing. And it's easy to forget that, no, I don't draw that fast. I don't paint that fast. I don't think anybody can paint that fast. This felt like a great excuse to dive into watercolor. I've always wanted to learn more about it, but it's been really difficult. When I was a kid, I learned how to do pencil, ink, black and white. When you're working with ink, you want to define your shadows. That's the bulk of your picture. And with watercolor, you have to first find your whites, whatever the highlights are. Complete opposite from what I'm used to. So when I started on this picture, I went in with a very dark blue, and I love this color, but I covered up every one of my lines, my guidelines. I was a oopsie. I did not mean to do that. But I was glad it didn't go exactly to plan. I was really happy with the end result on this piece. If you ever spend time on YouTube looking up other artists, I would recommend Jake Parker. He's a really great artist, and he gives good advice too. He says one thing that really stuck with me, and it's finished, not perfect. I kind of tend to be a perfectionist in my mind, but all that does is slow progress. He says do more work and just finish it, because you learn every time you finish something, and I really like that. Something I'm learning about watercolor is you have to get to know your paints. There's so many different kinds. There's granulating, there's staining, there's transparent. It all has a purpose and a time, but for this picture, that blue that I laid down first, it stained the paper, so when I came back and I started adding other layers, it actually helped me. Like I said, I'm used to ink. So having those layers move around when I'm trying to play with watercolor, it messes with my mind. So this worked out good. I liked it. So I would like to draw your attention to the beautiful blue shadow that came right across her forehead, and I did that with intention. And then I was sorry because the only way to fix it was to come in with colored pencils. And that's what I did. Towards the end of the video, you can see it kind of works that out. But I had an idea that I was going to put like a galaxy across her face. And I was in over my head. So I said, no, let's just stick with what I know. And it worked out. I keep saying that. Finished, not perfect. You got to keep going. Keep working it. Trust the process. This light blue color I'm coming over the top of it is gouache. I discovered this wonderful trick that if you have a set of watercolors, you have a lot of different colors, but then you want something opaque to go over the top. Well, I got one tube of white gouache, a really good brand. I think it was like M. Graham, something like that. And you can mix that with whatever color you want, and it will bring that color to that opacity. You can put it over top of whatever you want. Again, another wonderful discovery in this picture. It was so much experimenting. You can see where I'm using the gouache. I'm having to go over it a couple of times. I'm trying to figure out what opacity will work in this picture. And I kept having to add more white, add more white. I think I finally got irritated with it, so I came in with just pure white, trying to get those clean lines. By the end of the video, I ended up covering it up with the skin tone that I used on her face. You'll see towards the end, it worked out kind of like primer on a wall. When I added the white gouache, it gave a place for that skin tone to land. It turned out really nice. This was an exciting point for me because all of these face details start to come forward. Up until this point, everything has been more abstract. I love it when the piece starts to come together. I've learned recently about glazing in watercolor, and it's really neat. Depending on what paint you have, if it's a warm color, cool color, normally red and blue will make purple, but that's not always the case. You have to really play with the supplies that you have. You can look up something called a glazing chart, and there are many videos on YouTube about it. And it allows you to figure out exactly how your colors are going to react with each other. I was so worried about how this picture was going to turn out. I wanted it to be good. And that perfectionism can be paralyzing. It took me about 3 weeks to go from this point, and then I walked away from it. When I came back, I added that skin color, and I was so happy with how it worked out. You know, who would have thought this color combination would go together? I'm doing metallics and colors that are opposite each other, this maroon and the blue. I honestly picked these colors because I like them, and that was it. When it worked out, I was so happy. Going forward, you see with the colored pencil, I just keep adding layers of pink and maroon, and then layers of blue, these light blue to dark blue tones. This picture was meant to be practice. I'm trying to get used to the medium. I'm trying to get a concept on paper, and look forward to more art for Flameheart, because there's a character reveal coming up that I'm working on, and I hope you guys like it. But stick around, follow me for that. Because I went in so dark with this blue background in the very first layer, I missed out on my reference lines. I tried to pull up a picture of when I first started. I got my sketch out and I used that, but I also had to go backwards. I had to take this hair and tone it down a little bit, but that's the beauty of the watercolor, the gouache. The paint thinned out really well, and it made kind of it helped with the dreamy effect. Helps her hair to blend in with the cloud. And I didn't do that on purpose, but it worked out. I think that's my theme for this whole video, is it worked out. But I'm learning as I go. Alright, here we go with the pink. That's actually gouache added to the same maroon that I put in her eyes and her lips. It's the right consistency so it pops. I like the dark background because it helps the metallics to show up better. I really liked how that gold hair came out. That was a very exciting point. I feel like that'll be a part of some future art coming up. Very satisfying, that's all I gotta say. This maroon turned purple, and that's a great example of the glazing I was talking about earlier. It really shows up here, and you can do so much work with your shadows if you learn how to glaze. And like I said, I'm learning. I don't know what I'm doing, but it's showing up in little tidbits, one bite at a time. I'm telling y'all, I was so nervous about this, but look at that gorgeous color. The problem is I have practiced with these paints, and that is the brown I wanted to use, but it's a granulating color. And so I had this vision of it just going crazy on her face. Maybe I should have just gone out and bought the color that would have done the job, and I wouldn't have to worry about it. But look, it worked. I adore granulating colors. I love the texture. It makes me happy. But in this case, being on her face, I think what worked is that it was in that porcelain palette, and so when you mix that color with water, it actually moves the granulation out. And so you can pick up some of the pigment without the granulation. I don't know how that worked out, how I discovered that, but there we go. I try to support small business as much as I can, especially artists and creatives. I love to get stickers and put them on my art books, my sketchbooks. This color is special, this brown. It comes all the way from Hawaii. The lady's brand is High Chromatics, and the color is Make. And she put in the description of it, it means desire or wish. I love that so much. She's on Instagram. I'll put a link in the description. If you get a chance, you're in the market for some new paint, go check her out. And this is not sponsored. I just bought these and loved them. I have always been a mixed media kind of artist, and I think that'll be part of my process till forever. Here, I didn't really want to lean so much on the colored pencils. I was hoping to use more watercolor in this piece, but I'm glad that I have it available, that I can smooth out that spot that I was worried about. And you'll see from here on out, I kind of go back and forth between the colored pencils and the watercolor. And I'm taking that brown, that pretty tone, and I'm blending it into her hair also. I'm trying to make the picture cohesive. This was also my first time recording a voiceover, and if you know, you know. It's so strange to hear yourself talk. It's not that it's bad, it's just weird. You can't really focus because, was that what I sound like? Oh my goodness. I don't know. I expect it'll go more smoothly on the next video. And so here I make the switch from using that brown tone over to a maroon. It's the same maroon in her eyes and the shadows, and I was so surprised that it looks like the same color. I'm telling y'all, that glazing, there's a secret to that, and the more you dig in, the more you find out. It's really interesting. Anyway, I like it. I liked how it turned out, and I honestly can't tell the difference. But I'll be using that technique going forward. But oh my goodness, we're coming around the home stretch on this picture. Thank you for sticking around. This video's been a little longer than my normal videos. I normally do like 15 minutes. But I was so excited to see this start to come together right here. When that maroon came across all of the other details, it started to pull it together and just made me so happy. Don't you love it when you can look at the picture finished and you're like, yeah, I did that. I'm happy. It's good. But oh, the fight to get there, right? But I guess that's part of being an artist. That's part of doing anything you enjoy, is you have to practice. Now, I love how this blue looks in her hair. Wow. I'm coming around with the highlights. And at the beginning, we talked about this character has starry eyes. And so I kind of left them, I played around with the idea of giving her more of a pupil. And then I left it alone. I kind of thought of the white rabbit with the pink eyes. And I think it looks good. I like it. Again, not sponsored by anyone. I'm just a hoarder of art supplies, and this is some sample packs I got when I did an order for colored pencil medium. I thought I'd give it a go on this round. Really, with colored pencils, there's so much layering and smoothing. Back in the day, I would have done burnishing, which is a method where you just press really hard with the colored pencils and you force all the pigment into the paper, and it makes it smooth. It makes it kind of shiny. It makes it shiny. But here I was trying to get all that blended out, and it really didn't do as much as I was hoping. It pulled a layer of pigment off the paper, and it wasn't my goal. I had spent a lot of time building those layers, so maybe I'm just not using it correctly, but it did give me more tooth to the paper. It gave me a place to add more pigment, because at a certain point there, you put so many layers and you press hard with the pencils, you can't get any more pigment to stick to the paper. So I'm not decided on that product. I'm not really sure what to tell y'all. I'll probably give it another go before I give a verdict. Yes, that's so satisfying. Thank you for joining me all the way through this video. And look at that B-roll. I'll see you next time.